Chapter 27. The Search. One evening, about a year into working in Lagos, I was scrolling through social media. I'd mostly avoided it before. What was the point? But I joined recently to keep in touch with university friends. On a whim, I searched for my siblings. My sister's names. Ben, Raven, common names. Thousands of results. But then I found one profile that looked familiar. A woman who could be my older sister. Same last name, right age range, from the right region. I stared at her profile picture for a long time. Was it her? I couldn't tell. The child I remembered had become an adult I wouldn't recognize. I could message her. Say, are you my sister? Do you remember me? My finger hovered over the message button. Then I closed the app. What would I say? Hi, remember me? The little brother you forgot about 13 years ago. And what if she did remember? What if she felt guilty? Or worse, what if she didn't care? What if she said, yeah, I remember. We moved on. You should too. I wasn't ready for that rejection. So I didn't message. Didn't reach out. Just closed the app and went back to my life. Some doors, once closed, should stay closed. Chapter 28. The Recognition Ceremony. 3 years at the company in Lagos, and I'd moved up. From junior developer to mid-level developer. Better projects, more responsibility, significantly better pay. I moved to a better apartment. Still modest, but in a safer neighborhood with reliable power and water. I bought furniture that wasn't secondhand. A real bed. A proper desk. I bought new clothes. Not many, but good quality. Professional. I bought a laptop. Not borrowed. Not broken. A powerful machine that could handle anything. Small victories. But they mattered. Each purchase was proof I'd made it. I was stable. I could have nice things. At work, I'd become one of Kyoma's most reliable team members. Alfred, I need you to lead this project, she'd say. The first project I led was terrifying. Managing other developers, making decisions, being responsible for success or failure. But we delivered on time, under budget, with quality work. Well done, Kyoma said. You're a natural at this. The promotion to senior developer came a year later. You've earned this, my manager said. Your technical skills are strong, and your leadership is developing well. We see a future for you, hey. A future. They saw a future for me. I called Uncle Marcus with the news. I got promoted to senior developer. Significant raise. That's good. Very good. Thank you, sir. You're doing well for yourself. For myself. Not thanks to him. For myself. Yes, sir. I am. Your father would be proud. Again with my father. Maybe, I said. I started mentoring junior developers at work. Young people just starting out, fresh from university, nervous and eager. I saw myself in them. The hunger, the uncertainty, the need to prove themselves. You're doing fine, I tell them when they panicked about mistakes. Everyone makes errors. What matters is learning from them. Don't compare yourself to senior developers. Compare yourself to who you were last month. I gave them the encouragement I desperately needed at their age. One junior developer, a girl named Bola, reminded me of myself especially. Quiet, hardworking, clearly from a difficult background. Can I ask you something? She said one day. Sure. How did you make it? You were young to be senior developer. You must have worked really hard. I did work hard, but I also had help. Good mentors who believed in me. I don't have that. My family, they don't understand what I do. They just want me to send money home. I understand that. Do you? I looked at her tired eyes, her defensive posture, and I recognized that loneliness. Yeah, I said. I do. I told her a little of my story. Not everything. That was too much, but enough. You made it, she said, something like hope in her voice. I'm making it. Still working on it. But you did it without family support. Mostly, yeah. Then maybe I can too. You can. Keep working, keep learning, and don't let anyone make you feel small. She became one of my mentees. I made sure she got good projects, that she had support when she struggled. Paying forward what Mr. Adebayo had done for me. 5 years after starting at the company, I got recruited by a bigger firm. Tech giant. International company. Significant salary increase. Better opportunities for growth. It was everything I should want. Take it, Kayoma said when I told her about the offer. You're not upset. I'm thrilled for you. You've outgrown us. Time to move up. So I took the new job. The office was in a wealthier area. Glass buildings, modern tech, international colleagues. I was one of maybe 10 Nigerian developers on a team of 50. The others were from around the world: India, Ukraine, Brazil, the US. Working with them was humbling and exciting. Different perspectives, different approaches. I learned constantly, pushed myself to keep up with developers who'd had advantages I'd never had. And I kept up. More than kept up. I excelled. Within a year, I was leading international projects, managing teams across time zones, making decisions that affected systems used by millions of people. My teenager self wouldn't recognize this life. I was 27 when I bought my first car. Used, but reliable. I drove it off the lot and just sat in the driver's seat for a moment, taking it in. I owned a car. Me, the unwanted kid, the burden. I drove to my apartment and parked in my designated spot. I looked up at the building, at my car, at the life I'd built. And I felt, not pride, exactly. Something quieter. Satisfaction. Maybe. I'd done it. Everything I'd planned at 15, dreaming of escape. I'd done it. Good job. Good pay. Independence. Security. No one could take this away. No one could tell me I didn't deserve it. I'd earned every single thing I had. At 28, I was offered a promotion to technical lead. Managing multiple teams, setting technical direction, significant increase in responsibility and compensation. I took it, not because I needed the money, I was comfortable now, but because I wanted to see how far I could go. How much could the unwanted kid achieve? Turn out, quite a lot. Then came the invitation. My university was honoring distinguished alumni, and I'd been selected for exceptional achievement in the field of computer science and demonstrating outstanding leadership and innovation. The letter read, "Me, distinguished alumnus." I stayed at the invitation, not quite believing it. The ceremony was scheduled for June. I marked my calendar, requested time off, booked my travel. "Will your family be there?" Sarah asked. "I doubt it. You're not inviting them." "I'll tell them about it, but I'm not expecting anyone to come." I did tell Uncle Marcus. "The university is honoring me. There's a ceremony in June." "That's good. Congratulations." "Thank you, sir. We're proud of you." But he didn't offer to attend. Didn't ask for details. "Thank you, sir." I hung up knowing he wouldn't come. The ceremony arrived. I got there early, feeling nostalgic. Sarah was already there with her family. "You came alone?" she asked. "Yeah, you." "My parents and sisters are here. Do you want to sit with us after?" "I'm fine, but thanks." She squeezed my hand. "You know you're not alone, right? You have friends. People who care." "I know." The ceremony began. Speeches about the university's legacy, about giving back, about the achievements of this year's honorees. Then they started calling names. One by one, alumni walked to the stage. Each one had family in the audience cheering, taking photos, beaming with pride. Then Alfred Okoro, class of 2025, for distinguished achievement in computer science. I walked to the stage, accepted the plaque, shook hands with the dean. The audience applauded politely. Sarah and some former classmates cheered. But the row where my family should have been. Empty chairs. I looked at those empty chairs for just a moment. The absence, not just of Uncle Marcus, but of everyone who should have been there. My mother, my father, my sisters, my brothers. No one. I'd achieved something worth celebrating, and there was no one from my actual family there to witness it. The feeling hit. The feeling hit hard and fast. Loneliness. The deep, aching kind that no amount of friendship or success can fully cure. I returned to my seat with the plaque, smiling like I was supposed to, while my chest felt hollow. After the ceremony, Sarah found me. "Come meet my family." I followed her to where her parents and sisters were waiting. They hugged her, congratulated her, then turned to me. "You must be Alfred," her mother said. Sarah talks about you all the time. You two were quite the team in school. She's being modest. She's brilliant, I said. Where's your family? Her father asked, looking around. They couldn't make it. Work commitments. The lie came easily. Easier than explaining that my family didn't come because they didn't really care. That's a shame, her mother said. But you're welcome to celebrate with us. We're going to dinner. Thank you. But I don't want to intrude. Nonsense. You're coming. Sarah's family adopted me for the evening. We went to a nice restaurant. They asked about my work, told embarrassing stories about Sarah, made me feel included. It was kind, generous, even. But it wasn't mine. I was borrowing someone else's family for a few hours. When the evening ended and I returned to my hotel room, the loneliness came back. I sat on the bed holding my plaque, looking at my name engraved on it. Distinguished alumnus. I'd wanted this, worked for this, achieved this. But sitting alone in a hotel room with no one to call, no one who'd ask how was it, with genuine interest. It felt hollow, not the achievement itself. That was real, earned, meaningful. But experiencing it alone felt hollow. I thought about my mother that night. Really thought about her for the first time in years. Where was she? What was she doing? Did she know I existed beyond the child she'd let go 20 years ago? Did she wonder how I'd turned out? Did she feel guilty? Did she think about me at all? I'd built this life. Good job, financial stability, recognition, respect, partly to prove I didn't need her. Didn't need any of them. And I'd succeeded in proving it. But sitting there alone, I realized, not needing them didn't make the absence hurt less. I'd survived without them, thrived without them. But that didn't mean I didn't wish things had been different. That didn't mean I didn't still carry the wound of being unwanted. Success hadn't healed that. Money hadn't healed that. Achievement hadn't healed that. The wound was still there. Quieter now. Less active. But still there. And probably always would be. Chapter 29. Therapy. I flew back to Lagos the next day. Returned to my apartment. To my routine. To my life. Put the plaque on my bookshelf, next to my university diploma and other certificates. Went back to work Monday like nothing had happened. How was the ceremony? Kayoma asked. Good. Nice to be back on campus. Your family must have been proud. They were. I lied automatically. Because what else could I say? Actually, no one came because my family essentially abandoned me 20 years ago. Too heavy. Too personal. Too revealing. So I lied. Let people think I had a normal family. It was easier than the truth. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not dramatic sobbing. Just quiet tears, alone in my apartment, letting myself feel what I'd been pushing down. The loneliness, the grief, the anger at how unfair it all was. I'd done everything right. Worked hard, stayed focused, succeeded despite every obstacle. And I was still alone. Still unwanted by the people who should have wanted me most. It wasn't fair. I let myself feel that for one evening. Let myself be sad and angry and hurt. Then I wiped my eyes, took a deep breath, and made a decision. I couldn't change the past. Couldn't make my parents suddenly care. Couldn't repair what they'd broken. But I could choose how I moved forward. I could stay bitter, let the absence define me, let the wound stay open. Or I could accept it, really accept it, not pretend it didn't hurt, but acknowledge the hurt and carry it without letting it destroy me. The next week, I started looking for therapists. I'd resisted it for years. Therapy felt like admitting defeat, like saying I couldn't handle things myself. But that night in the hotel room had shown me I needed help. Professional help. I found Dr. Amaka through a recommendation. A clinical psychologist who specialized in childhood trauma and family issues. Our first session was awkward. Tell me about yourself, she said. Where do I start? Wherever feels right. I started with a river town. With being 8 years old and being taken. With Uncle Marcus's house. The story poured out. Everything I'd been carrying for 20 years. When I finished, Dr. Amaka was quiet for a moment. That's a lot to carry, she said finally. I managed. You survived. That's different from managing. What's the difference? Surviving is getting through each day. Managing is actually living. building a life, being happy. I am happy, I said automatically. Are you? Was I? I had everything I'd worked for. Career success, financial stability, independence. But happy? I don't know, I admitted. That's honest. And that's where we'll start. Over the following months, therapy became part of my routine. Once a week, I'd sit in Dr. Marker's office and unpack 20 years of trauma. She helped me understand things I'd never articulated. That being abandoned wasn't my fault. That I didn't have to earn the right to exist. That success didn't erase the pain. It just masked it. That I could acknowledge my wounds without being defined by them. You've spent 20 years proving you're worthy, she said one session. But worthy to whom? To everyone. To Uncle Marcus. To my parents. To myself. And have you proven it? I think so. So why are you still trying? I didn't have an answer. Maybe, she said gently, you're still trying to prove it to an 8-year-old boy who thinks he's not good enough. And maybe it's time to tell that boy he is. Chapter 30. The Message. The message came on a random Tuesday evening, 3 months after the ceremony. I was at home, coding on a personal project, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Alfred, this is your Uncle Marcus. I wanted to reach out about something important. Please call when you can. Uncle Marcus. He never texted. He barely called anymore. Something important could mean many things. Someone was sick. Someone had died. Someone needed money. I called back, bracing myself. Alfred, thank you for calling back. What's wrong, sir? Nothing's wrong. Well, not exactly wrong. I wanted to tell you, your father has been in touch. My heart stopped. What? Your father. He called me last week, asking about you. 20 years. 20 years of silence. And now he was asking about me. What did he want? My voice was flat. He'd heard about your success. Someone told him you were doing well, working for a big company. He wanted to know how to contact you. And I didn't give him your number, not without asking you first. I wanted to know, do you want to talk to him? Did I? I'd spent 20 years building a life without him. 20 years proving I didn't need him. 20 years of silence that had said everything about what I meant to him. And now he wanted to talk. Why now? I asked. I don't know. He said he wanted to reconnect. Said he was proud of what you'd accomplished. Proud. The word tasted bitter. He was proud now that I was successful. Now that I'd made something of myself despite him. Where was that pride when I was 8 years old and terrified? Where was that pride when I was 11 and being beaten? Where was that pride when I graduated top of my class? When I got my first job? When I achieved any of the things I'd achieved? He'd had 20 years to be proud, to reach out, to show he cared, and he'd chosen silence. Alfred. Uncle Marcus's voice brought me back. I'm here. Do you want his number? I thought about it, really thought about it. Part of me wanted to call him, to ask why, to demand answers for 20 years of absence. Part of me wanted to tell him about every struggle, every achievement, every moment he'd missed. Part of me wanted him to feel guilty. But the larger part, the part that had learned to survive, to protect myself, to not need anyone, that part knew better. He hadn't reached out of love. He'd reached out because I was successful now. Because having a successful son looked good. Just like Uncle Marcus treated me better now, that my success reflected well on him. They didn't want me. They wanted what I represented. And I'd spent too many years being unwanted to settle for that. No, I said finally. No. I don't want his number. If he wants to talk to me, he should have called 20 years ago. Alfred, he's your father. He stopped being my father when he handed me over and disappeared. DNA doesn't make someone a parent. Care does. Presence does. Love does. He says he's sorry. Sorry through you? He can't even apologize directly. Uncle Marcus was quiet. Tell him I'm doing fine. Tell him I don't need anything from him. Tell him it's too late. You might regret this. I've regretted a lot of things in my life. Sir, this won't be one of them. I hung up before he could argue further. Then I sat there, phone in hand, breathing hard. My father wanted to reconnect. After 20 years, now that I was someone worth knowing. The audacity of it stunned me. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. What would I have said if I'd called him? "Hi, Dad. Remember me? The son you gave away? Let me tell you about the life I built without you." Or maybe, "Why now? What changed? Is it that I'm successful? Would you have reached out if I'd failed?" Or maybe just, "Where were you?" But I knew those conversations would bring no satisfaction, no closure. He'd have excuses, explanations, justifications. I was young. I didn't know what to do. I thought you'd be better off with family who could provide for you. None of it would matter. None of it would undo 20 years. I talked to Dr. Marker about it. He reached out, she said, incredulous. Through my uncle. Wanted to reconnect. What did you say? That it's too late. How do you feel about that? Honestly, I don't know. Part of me wants answers. Wants to understand why. But the bigger part knows that answers won't fix anything. You're probably right. But it's okay to want them anyway. Is it okay to be angry? Of course. You're allowed to be furious. I am furious. But I'm also tired. Tired of caring what they think. Tired of wondering about them. Tired of letting their absence affect me. So what will you do? Nothing. I'll do nothing. I'll keep living my life, and they can live theirs, and maybe that's how it should be. That's very mature. I don't feel mature. I feel nervous. Nervous is okay. It means you care. I did care. Despite everything, I cared. A week later, another message from Uncle Marcus. Your father would like to attend a family gathering. To see you. To talk. Will you consider it? A family gathering. Playing happy family after 2 decades of nothing. I typed and deleted several responses. Finally, I'm not interested in family gatherings with people who weren't family when it mattered. Please don't contact me about this again. It was harsh, but it was honest. Uncle Marcus didn't reply. Good. I'd drawn a boundary. After years of being compliant, of maintaining relationships out of duty, I'd said no. And it felt liberating. Chapter 31. The Town by the River, Reprise. That weekend, I drove back to the city where Uncle Marcus lived. Not to see him, not to see my father, but to see the town where my mother had lived, where I'd lived those first 8 years. I hadn't been back since I was a child. The town hadn't changed much. Still small, still dusty, still situated by the brown river that had been my playground. I drove to where our house had been. The street looked different, more buildings, more people, but I found it. The house was still there, older, more weathered, but recognizable. A different family lived there now. I could see children in the yard, a woman hanging laundry, just like my mother used to. I sat in my car watching, trying to remember what it felt like to be that child who'd lived there. Happy, innocent, loved by his sisters. That child felt like a different person, a different life. I couldn't get him back. Couldn't reclaim that innocence. But I could remember him, honor him, acknowledge that he existed before everything fell apart. I'd survived because of him, because that child had been loved enough, for long enough, to believe he was worth surviving for. I drove through the town slowly, past the market where my mother had worked, past the river where I'd played. Memories surfaced, fragment by fragment. My sister's laughter, the smell of cooking rice, the sound of rain on our metal roof. Good memories. Before everything changed. I pulled over near the river and got out. Walked down to the water's edge. It was the same river. Still brown. Still slow. Still carrying things downstream. I stood there for a long time, not thinking anything specific. Just being present with the memory of who I'd been. Then I got back in my car and drove back to Lagos. I didn't need to find my mother. Didn't need to confront my father. Didn't need closure from people who couldn't give it. I just needed to remember that I'd been loved once. However briefly. However long ago. That had to be enough. Chapter 32. The Reunion. 6 months passed. The message from my father faded into background noise. Life continued. Work. Friends. Routine. Building a life. Day by day. But something had shifted after that visit to my childhood town. I started thinking more about my mother. Not obsessively, but wondering. She'd let me go. That was the fact I couldn't escape. When my father came to take me, she hadn't fought, hadn't protested, hadn't come after me. For 20 years, I'd interpreted that as, she didn't want me. But what if it wasn't that simple? What if she'd been overwhelmed, barely surviving, and truly believed I'd be better off with family who had more resources? What if she'd spent 20 years regretting it? What if she'd wanted to reach out but didn't know how? Didn't have my contact information? Didn't think I'd want to hear from her? I'd never know unless I asked. And maybe it was time to ask. I hired someone to find her, a professional investigator. I need to find my mother, I told him. Last known location was this town 20 years ago. I have her name, approximate age, and my sister's names. I'll see what I can find. 2 weeks later, he called back. I found her. She moved about 15 years ago. Now lives about 3 hours north of Lagos. Small town called Ibadan. She runs a small shop there. Is she okay? Seems to be. I didn't make contact, just verified her location and situation. He gave me the address. I sat with that information for a week. Just sat with it. My mother was findable, reachable, 3 hours away. I could drive there, walk into her shop, see her face after 20 years. But did I want to? What would I say? Hi, Mom. Remember me? What would she say? Would she cry? Apologize? Pretend not to know me? The possibilities paralyzed me. I talked to Dr. Marco about it. What do you want from seeing your mother? She asked. I don't know. Answers, maybe. What questions do you have? Why did you let me go? Did you ever think about me? Did you love me? And if our answers aren't what you want to hear? That was the fear, wasn't it? That she'd confirm my worst suspicions. That she hadn't loved me. That letting me go had been easy. That she'd moved on without a second thought. I don't know if I can handle that, I admitted. Then maybe you're not ready to see her. When will I be ready? When the need for answers is stronger than the fear of what those answers might be. I thought about that for weeks. 3 months later, I drove to Ibadan, not planning to see her, just scouting. I found the address, a small shop in a modest neighborhood, selling household goods, soap, rice, oil, basic necessities. I parked across the street and watched. And then I saw her, older, gray hair, thinner than I remembered, but unmistakably my mother. She was helping a customer, weighing rice, making change, smiling politely. My mother. 20 years disappeared. I was 8 years old again, waiting for her to come home from work. But I was also 28, an adult, someone who'd survived without her. I sat in my car for an hour, just watching, trying to decide. She looked tired, not unhappy, but worn down by life. Surviving, not thriving. Part of me wanted to walk in there, to say something, to demand answers. Part of me wanted to drive away and never come back. In the end, I did neither. I got out of my car and walked closer, close enough to see her clearly through the shop window. She looked up, maybe sensing someone watching. Our eyes met. For 1 second, 2 seconds, 3, recognition flickered across her face. She knew me. Even after 20 years, she knew me. Her hand went to her mouth. Her eyes widened, and I panicked. I turned and walked quickly back to my car, started the engine, drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw her come out of the shop, looking around, but I was already gone. I drove back to Lagos in a daze. She'd recognized me. After 20 years, she'd recognized me. That had to mean something, right? Or maybe mothers always recognize their children, no matter how much time passes. Biology, not love. I didn't know, but I knew one thing. I wasn't ready. Not ready for that conversation. Not ready for whatever explanations or excuses or apologies she might have. Not ready to forgive. Not ready to condemn. Not ready for any of it. Maybe someday, but not today. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello. Alfred. A woman's voice. Trembling. Is this Alfred? My stomach dropped. Who is this? It's your mother. Silence. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. I saw you today. At my shop. I got this number from. I asked people. I'm sorry to call, but I had to. She was crying now. I thought I saw you, but I wasn't sure. You're so grown up. But I knew a mother knows her child. I still couldn't speak. Alfred, please, say something. Tell me it was you. It was me, I finally managed. She sobbed. Oh my God, my baby, my Alfred. I'm not a baby. I'm 28 years old. I know, I know. I can't believe it's really you. Where have you been? The question burst out. 20 years. Where were you? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wanted to find you, but I didn't know where you were. Your father wouldn't tell me anything. I asked and asked, but he said you were fine and I should leave it alone. You could have tried harder. I did try. I went to his brother's house, but they'd moved. I had no way to find you. No phone, no money for investigators, nothing. You could have. I stopped. Could have what? She was right. She had no resources. No way to track a child in a different city with no contact information. Maybe she had tried. Maybe she'd wanted to find me. Or maybe she was lying. Making excuses. Rewriting history to absolve her guilt. I didn't know. Couldn't know. Why did you let me go? I asked, my voice breaking. Why didn't you fight when he took me? Because I was stupid. Because he said you'd have a better life with his family. Because I was exhausted and poor and desperate. Because I thought you'd be better off. I wasn't better off. I was miserable. I slept on the floor. I was beaten. I was treated like garbage. I didn't know. If I'd known. You should have known. You should have fought for me. She was crying harder now. You're right. You're absolutely right. I failed you. I'm so sorry, Alfred. I'm so sorry. Sorry wasn't enough. 20 years of pain couldn't be fixed with sorry. But hearing her say it mattered. Hearing her acknowledge it mattered. I have to go, I said. Please, can we talk? Can we meet? I want to see you, really see you. I don't know. I need to think. Please don't disappear again. Please. I won't disappear. I need time. Okay. Can I call you again? I don't know. Please, Alfred. Please give me a chance. A chance. After 20 years, she wanted a chance. I'll think about it, I said, and hung up. I sat in my apartment, phone in my hand, shaking. I'd talked to my mother, heard her voice, heard her cry, heard her apologize, and I felt empty, confused, angry, sad, everything and nothing at once. Dr. Marker would help me process this. My friends would support me. I wasn't alone in figuring this out. But the question remained, did I want my mother back in my life? Could I forgive 20 years of absence? Could I rebuild a relationship with someone who'd let me go? Did I even want to try? I didn't have answers. All I knew was that the wound I'd thought was scarred over had been ripped open again. And I didn't know how to close it this time. Chapter 33, Rebuilding. I didn't call my mother back for 3 weeks. I needed space. Time to think. Time to feel everything I'd been pushing down for 20 years. Dr. Amaka helped me work through it. You don't owe her forgiveness, she said. You don't owe her a relationship. You get to decide what you want. What if I don't know what I want? Then take your time figuring it out. There's no rush. But there was a rush. 20 years of questions. 20 years of absence. I needed answers. Not for her sake. For mine. I called her on a Saturday morning. Hello. She answered on the first ring, like she'd been waiting. It's Alfred. Alfred. Thank God. I thought you wouldn't call. I almost didn't. I'm glad you did. Awkward silence. Can we meet? She asked. Please. I know I don't deserve it, but. Okay. Yes. Let's meet. We arranged to meet at a quiet restaurant in Abadan. Neutral ground. Public enough to feel safe. Private enough to talk. I drove there the following weekend, my stomach in knots the entire way. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table, looking nervous. I approached slowly, taking in the details. Gray hair, lined face, worn clothes. This wasn't the young woman I barely remembered. This was someone life had been hard on. She stood when she saw me, tears already streaming down her face. Alfred. My Alfred. I stood across from her, not sure what to do. Hug her. Shake her hand. Keep my distance. She solved the problem by pulling me into a hug. I stood stiffly, not returning it, but not pulling away either. "You're so tall," she said, laughing through tears. "So handsome, so grown up." We sat down. I ordered water. She ordered nothing. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I need answers." "I know. Ask me anything." Where to start? There was so much. Why did you let him take me? She flinched but didn't look away. "Your father." He was very persuasive. He said his brother had more resources, could give you better education, better opportunities. I was barely surviving, working dawn to dusk, and still couldn't feed you all properly. You had my sisters. You kept them. They were older, could help out. You were so young, needed more care. I thought you'd have a better life. Did you ask me what I wanted? You were 8 years old. Old enough to have an opinion about being given away." She nodded, tears falling. "You're right. I should have asked. Should have fought. Should have done so many things differently. Why didn't you come after me? Visit? Cool." I tried. I went to Marcus's house 3 times in the first year. They'd moved. I asked your father where you were. He wouldn't tell me. Said you were fine and I should focus on raising your sisters. You could have kept trying. With what? I had no money for travel, no phone to call, no way to track you. I asked everyone I could think of. No one would help me. Eventually, I had to accept. I'd lost you. You gave up. I gave up fighting a system I couldn't win against. But I never gave up thinking about you, wondering about you, hoping you were okay. I wanted to believe her, wanted to think she cared all these years. But 20 years of silence was hard to explain away. "Where are my sisters?" I asked. "Scattered. One married, moved to another state. The other, I don't know. We lost touch years ago. You lost touch with her too." She nodded, ashamed. "I'm not good at keeping people. I've learned that about myself." At least she was honest. We sat in silence for a moment. "What do you want from me?" I finally asked. "Nothing. Everything. I just want to know you, to be part of your life, if you'll let me. After 20 years. I know it's a lot to ask, but you're my son. I never stopped loving you, even when I couldn't find you. Love isn't enough if you don't show up. I know. I failed you. I can't change that. But maybe we could start over, build something new." I looked at this woman across from me. My mother. A stranger. Did I want her in my life? Part of me did. The child in me who'd been waiting 20 years for his mother to come back. But the adult in me, the one who'd survived, who'd built a life, who'd learned not to need anyone, that part was skeptical. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I don't know if I can do this." "That's fair. I understand. Do you? Do you understand that you can't just walk back into my life after 20 years and expect everything to be okay?" "I don't expect that. I just hope for a chance. Even a small one. A chance. Everyone wanted chances they didn't deserve." "I need time," I said. "This is too much too fast." "Of course. Take all the time you need. I'll be here." "Will you? Or will you disappear again when it gets hard?" The accusation hung between us. "I won't disappear," she said firmly. "Not this time. I promise." Promises from someone who'd already broken the biggest promise, to keep me safe, meant little. But I nodded anyway. We talked for another hour. Surface things, mostly. Her shop, my job, what I'd studied, where I lived. She asked about Uncle Marcus. I told her the minimum. She asked if I'd been happy. I lied and said yes. When it was time to leave, she hugged me again. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for coming." I didn't say you're welcome. I just nodded and left. Driving back to Lagos, I felt exhausted, emotionally wrung out. I'd seen my mother, talked to her, heard her side of the story, and I still didn't know how I felt. Part of me felt lighter, like a question that had been hanging over me for decades had finally been addressed. Part of me felt heavier, like I'd opened a door I couldn't close. Part of me was still angry, still hurt, still 8 years old and confused about why his mother let him go. Part of me was 28 and understood life was complicated and people made mistakes and sometimes there were no good choices. All of me was tired. Epilogue, 10 years later. I'm 41 now, married to a wonderful woman named Adana who's heard all my stories and loves me anyway. We have 2 children, a daughter and a son. I watch them play and promise myself daily that they'll always know they're wanted. I'm a senior director at my company now, leading teams, mentoring young developers, paying forward what Mr. Adebayo gave me. My mother lives with us. She helps with the children, runs a small online shop, has found something like peace in her old age. We rebuilt our relationship slowly. It took years. It's still not perfect. There are wounds that never fully heal. But she's here. She shows up for my children. She's the grandmother they adore. That's enough. My relationship with Uncle Marcus remains distant. Cordial but cool. Some wounds heal with time. Others just scar over. My father died 5 years ago. I went to the funeral. Stood in the back. Left early. I'd made my peace with his absence long before his death. My sisters and I talk occasionally. We'll never be close, but we're family in a distant, complicated way. The book is in its 10th printing. It's required reading in some schools now, used in therapy programs, recommended to social workers and foster families. It's helped people. That makes the pain of writing it worth it. I still see Dr. Amaka. Some wounds take a lifetime to heal. But I'm healing. I watch my children play, safe, loved, wanted, and I think about that 8-year-old boy who didn't know if he'd survive the day. I want to tell him, you make it. You survive. You build a good life. You become someone. You win. Not against anyone. Just for yourself. And that's enough. That's everything. My daughter asks me sometimes, Daddy, why do you work so hard? I tell her, because I never want you to feel the way I felt. I want you to know, every day of your life, that you are wanted, that you are loved, that you matter. I know that, Daddy. Good. Never forget it. She won't, because I'll make sure of it. I'll break the cycle, end the pattern, be the father I needed when I was young. Not perfect, no one is, but present, caring, showing up. That's all family really is. Showing up. Sometimes, late at night, I go to my home office and look at my bookshelf. My university diploma, my professional certifications, my book, photos with friends and family, evidence of a life well lived. And in a small frame, I keep a photo I found years ago in my mother's things. Me as a child, maybe 5 years old, playing by the river. Happy, innocent, loved. That child deserved better than he got. But he survived, and he built this life. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of us. We made it. Against odds that should have destroyed us, we made it. And now we get to live. Really live. Not just survive. That's the gift on the other side of survival, living. And it's worth everything it took to get here. I am Alfred. I was unwanted, but I wanted myself. And that was enough. The end. We are going to make it. Keep working. Keep surviving. It gets better. Did it get better for you? I thought about it. My life wasn't perfect. I still had wounds, still struggled sometimes, still had days where the old loneliness crept in. But I had a good job, good friends, a mother who was trying, a life I'd built myself. Yeah, I said. It got better. Uncle Marcus never read the book. Or if he did, he never mentioned it. We still talked occasionally. Brief, transactional conversations. I'd send money sometimes for Grace's education or family emergencies. But we weren't close. Would never be close. That was okay. I'd made peace with it. My father never reached out again after I'd declined to see him. Maybe he'd given up. Maybe he'd accepted my boundary. Either way, he remained absent. Just like always. My sisters, I found one of them through social media after the book came out. She'd read it, recognized herself, reached out. We talked a few times. Cautious conversations, feeling each other out. We'd been close as children, but we were strangers now. Maybe we'd rebuild something. Maybe not. Time would tell. Raven reached out too. The brother who'd given me the blue dress all those years ago. I remember you, he said when we talked on the phone. I remember that little kid who loved that dress. I'm glad you survived, man. Glad you made it. Thanks for the dress, I said. It meant more than you knew. I wish I'd done more. You were a kid too. You did what you could. We promised to stay in touch. Whether we would or not, I didn't know. But the door was open.